Welcome back. I'm Karima Brown. You're watching The Fix. In a dramatic move on Friday, the entire board of the Public Investment Corporation resigned en masse amid an inquiry into its business dealings and governance of the largest participant on the JSE. It managed investments of over R1 trillion, yet it remains unclear whether the board jumped or whether they were pushed. Well, joining me to unpack this hot mess is the Deputy Finance Minister, Mr. Mondli Gungubele. He is, of course, the former chair of the PIC, and I'm joined by the Deputy Editor of the Financial Mail, Mr. Sikhonathi Mantshantsha. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Karima, and good morning to your viewers. Thank you.
Good morning, Sikhonathi.
Morning, Karima. Good morning.
Now, Deputy Minister, first of all, let's get the facts straight. Someone said to me that when you resign, the Minister of Finance must actually accept your resignations for this resignation to be effective. Can you confirm whether Tito Mboweni has indeed accepted your resignations?
Well, I have not seen any formal response, but what I know is that he is going to respond in a manner that is consistent with the request.
Mm-hmm. So what you are saying is that he is going to release you of your duties?
I expect him to do that to the board.
Okay. Sikhonathi, let me bring you in here. Were they pushed or did they jump?
Well, it's a request from the board itself, so it would seem to me like the most honorable thing anyone has ever done in the public life of the nation. The people in charge of the institutions of the state, they sit there and refuse to account and refuse to recuse themselves when such serious allegations have been leveled against them. So this board of the Public Investment Corporation, it's the best deal they have ever done to actually give the finance minister an opportunity to select amongst themselves those that he still can trust, if any, and to give the institution, which, by the way, manages 2 trillion rand, not a trillion, 2 trillion rand of public servants' monies. So, and every taxpayer in South Africa is behind that the pensions of the public servants. So it's the best thing they have ever done. They have definitely not been pushed. They requested to be released, and that is to be applauded. I'm not saying that because I'm sitting next to Mondli Gungubele. But
Yes.
the fact of the matter is, there are people, you were discussing Busasa just now. If people can do the honorable thing and just step aside to clear their names, this country would be the best that it can be.
Absolutely. Deputy Finance Minister Gungubele, we've got a graphic up. I'm going to ask my colleagues to put it up on the screen. It talks about the way in which dirty deals were being done by the board. And of course, the person that is at the center of this is a woman called Sibusiso Zulu. Now, the graphic shows us the way in which people were supposedly captured. It says there, Mondli Gungubele captured, unresolved KZN gambling board scandal that plagues Ms. Zulu, so how she can be on the board. And then it also goes directly to a relationship between Dr. Zweli Mkhize. It says that she is his niece. Now, today the City Press is running with a front page story that Mr. Zweli Mkhize was, in fact, the fixer for this. Can you confirm for me whether this graphic is in fact true and whether the information that you gathered for Nhlanhla Nene, remember you were supposed to put a report together for him on what was going on around Dan Machila and certain decisions. Is anything in this graphic true? How involved is Zweli Mkhize in the financial dealings of the PIC?
If you can allow myself, Karima, to deal primarily with the reason why I am here, I knew I wouldn't escape that one. To say, just as a matter of principle, that when the board sat and reflected, it looked at all the controversies surrounding the institution, and up to a point where they culminate in 4 board members being implicated. The board has got professionals there who've got professions and careers to protect, and the board took a view that the institution is getting destabilized and is being run to paralysis. There could be honest people, but there's also suspect people who are actually out to undermine the board. And it affects the credibility and the careers of very honest men and women. And the board took this decision to say, listen, going forward, the decisions we take face a risk of not being.
But there's also crooks on the board. Let's just be clear about that, Deputy Minister. I mean, these allegations are not coming in a vacuum. There is actually an inquiry into the PIC that has been set up as a consequence of people not knowing which deals are being done and who are proxies for who. So let me come back to the question of the graphic. Who is Ms. Sibusiso Zulu in relation to Zweli Mkhize? And is Zweli Mkhize connected to her? And is she supposedly his proxy on that board?
Let me say, the story there, let me start by saying, to the extent that it speaks about my name, I just want to say it categorically. I call it as a figmentation of the human mind.
So you say you haven't been captured?
No, I'm saying, anyway, the investigations are on, but it's important up front to dare say that. This is a figmentation of human mind, and I'm saying I cannot explain where does that story come from. Normally, sometimes when allegations are made against people, it's either there's a transaction or there's a meeting that took place somewhere.
But what did you find? You investigated. You were given an order by Nhlanhla Nene to put together a report on the board on the fitness of Dan Machila. Did your reports find that there is a relationship between Ms. Zulu and Mr. Mkhize, and that there were deals that were done that involved Mr. Mkhize? I need you to give me a categorical answer, sir.
No, we don't have such an information. Let me put it this way.
What do you have?
The Batlender report, remember, it was not a board's report. It was the minister's report. So once Batlender finished his report, it was given to the minister, and the minister referred the report to the Commission of Inquiry and just sent to the board the issues of governance he thought should be rectified. But he said he's of the view that Commission of Inquiry must take. That was not the board's report. And at my disposal, I have no facts of the relationship, but I can dare say on behalf of Sibusiso Zulu, so that when I ask her about the minister...
So you did ask her?
She doesn't hide the fact that the minister is what to call uncle.
Is she also his lawyer?
I don't know that. All I know, Sibusiso Zulu is a board member. Up to this point in time, I have a lot of respect for the work she has done for the PIC up to this point. All the other individual issue, I respect that is for herself to explain. But where I'm sitting, the facts at my disposal is a woman who has demonstrated a lot of dedication to turn around a lot of things that we're dealing with at the moment together with the board.
Sikhonathi, let me bring you in here. There's been a lot of rumors that board members are proxies for very senior people in the African National Congress. That's nothing new. From the investigations that you've done, the stories that you've run, is there a relationship between the two, and is there a financial relationship more importantly?
Let me start by saying I have never personally asked Sibusiso Zulu or Zweli Mkhize about their relationship, but that's something all of South Africa is talking about. So I've never probed that part. I'm really not interested in. The issue, Karima, about the PIC, there will always be these nasty reports for as long as politicians are involved, including any deputy finance minister who becomes chairman of the PIC. To fix the governance of that institution, you have to remove it from the claws and the clashes of the politicians. So this board is now gone. Tito Mboweni will make an announcement about the new board. Again, there's no transparency in how the people are selected onto that board, which is why there is room for such reports, legitimate or otherwise. As soon as you can get the institution out of reach of politicians, the workers are not represented on that board, whose money is being managed. The people of South Africa are not represented on that board, who stand behind every rand invested with the PIC. You need to fix the governance, get the politicians out of the PIC. It's been a tradition, and it's not in law, that a deputy finance minister must be a board member and chairman of the PIC. That's not the law. It's the government or individual ministers trying to look after their own interests. So there will always be these allegations. There are even more that you dare not say on air.
In fact, talking about allegations, let's get to AO, the company of Iqbal's survey. It is alleged that proper procedures were not followed in this instance, and that, of course, Mr. Machila, whom Mr. Survey described as a great friend, was doing the batting for Dr. Survey on this deal. Can you explain to me what kind of due diligence was done on the AO deal, and why was it approved amid speculation that you didn't follow all the procedures, Deputy Minister?
Listen, at our disposal, Karima, is an interim report, which we went through, reported by the internal audit. I call it a movie. I've never seen a situation where all procedures are not followed. Remember, when a deal is there, it's supposed to go to the Public Management Committee.
Did the AO deal go to the Public Management Committee?
It did not go. Let me put it this way. It went at the wrong time. Okay. The first time it's supposed to go, when it arrives, it goes to that committee. That committee analyzes the appetites and everything else. And that committee is the one that is mandated to say it must then go for due diligence. That was not done. And then by the time the due diligence was being done, already on the 14th of, December 2017? On the 14th of December, a subscription agreement was signed. Something that must come after all these processes are followed, your PMC, your due diligence. If you follow the sequence, all the due diligence reports come after the subscription.
Did they in this instance? Did they in this instance come?
After the fact.
They came after the fact. But still, there's a lot of unanswered questions, even in the integrity of those who are to call.
Just tell me, how much is the PIC exposed for on the AO deal?
It was about 4 billion.
4 billion. That's not small change. Despite the fact that you have a very large fund to manage. How was it possible, Deputy Minister, you chair the board, for a deal of 5 billion or 4 billion to pass through and basically sidestep the governance rules of the PIC?
Remember, generally, the track record in the place is that at our disposal is an information that rules have been followed. And secondly, as a chair of the board, I don't chair those what to call those subcommittees.
Who does?
It's various board members. But however, the PMC is not even a committee that is chaired by board members. It's a stage before the investment committee. The board members come when the investment committee is considering what to call.
I see, Sikhonathi, you're itching to get in.
So the investment committee of the PIC has up to 2 billion rand to consider a deal. So it will do these initial investigations and due diligence, and then must pass it on to the investment committee of the board, which is chaired by?
Yes, currently it's chaired by the deputy chair, yeah.
Yeah, so it goes to the board. That board then will mandate management, again, internal audit, to go, and the risks and compliance committee, to go and do more work on IO, for example. Now, as Mr. Gungubele here says, these steps were not done. What you did get is the PIC already agreeing to subscribe for shares at 43 rand. Who signed that subscription agreement?
It was signed, in terms of the record, the former CEO signed it.
So what is the name of the former CEO? Is that Dr. Dan Machila that signed off on it? Is that the reason why he resigned? What is going to happen to him? Are you going to hold him accountable?
Listen, at the risk of entering a discussion on an ongoing investigation, all what we're saying now, because of a number of developments, we took the interim report as it is to the Commission of Inquiry. Because immediately these sort of allegations are emerging, it became wise in our view that, especially a number of us getting implicated, that led the Commission of Inquiry, because IO report is also part of the protocol.
Yes.
We said with the Commission of Inquiry, we agreed with them that they must take the report. So how we go forward, we continue to consult on how best to deal with what aspect. But
just quickly, as a final question, I'm running out of time, Deputy Minister. What is the time frames for this commission to wrap up its work? And we know you're going to make a decision. And more importantly, who runs the PIC now?
If you look at our letter, we are saying we'll stay in put until the minister appoints what to call a new board. We expect him to act very quickly. We think we'll do. But there's also one
When you say very quickly, are we talking about tomorrow?
I don't know.
I mean, the markets are opening tomorrow. You're the biggest participant on the JSE.
The Minister Mondli is very quick. I want to leave it at that principle. But I thought it would be incorrect not to correct something. I must be honest about this. The workers are represented in PIC. How? The GIPF is actually a board of workers, the clients. And PIC is not supposed to work outside the mandate that is given. But that's the strongest area where they are represented. We are bound by the mandate of that institution. That's how the workers take control.
And yet that mandate has been ignored, especially in the AO deal.
Laws get broken. What is important is what you do when the law is broken, Karima.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we've run out of time, but of course I'm probably going to have you back here when we have the findings of that report. The PIC isn't just involved in AO, it's not just involved in small deals. There's a whole range of issues, but the key question, of course, is the way in which that board is chosen, how it's accountable, and of course whether politicians should in fact be involved in it. I know that Sikhonathi is a very big defender of depoliticizing that board entirely. Sikhonathi Mantshantsha, Deputy Editor of the Financial Mail, Deputy Minister of Finance, Mr. Gungubele, thank you very much. I know it was too short. We will get some more time. Thank you so much. We'll be back at making headlines, of course, in the Sunday newspapers is what we're going to look at. Do stay tuned.